Welcome to Top Notch Online TV, a paragon of excellence. With you today is Teacher Rispa, a teacher of English and Literature from PCA Kikuyu High School, an author as well as an examiner. Thank you for joining us. We had gone for a break, and as we are coming back, we are still discussing one among the stories in our anthology of short stories. We are discussing The Truly Married Woman by Abiose Nicole, all the way from Sierra Leone. If you missed on our episode on the plot analysis as well as characterization, you can catch up on Top Notch Online TV. The episodes are available on YouTube. Welcome. In continuation of our understanding of a truly married woman, we need to tackle the themes. The themes are the issues inside a book. The themes usually help us to understand the message of the author. And themes are also important, particularly whenever we are about to discuss an essay. I'll be discussing themes, and then alongside themes, I'll give a sample or two of questions based on the truly married woman, so that we see how are themes relating to our essay questions that will be tested in paper 3. We shall be looking at the issues that are being raised by Abiose Nicole through his story, The Truly Married Woman. Among the themes in A Truly Married Woman, first of all, we shall begin on our first theme, the theme that we shall be calling hypocrisy, pretense, or we can still stroke it with falsehood. Because when we are looking at hypocrisy, we are looking at judging someone for having standards that you are also having the same. Judging someone because of something, yet you are also similar. Or we can talk about pretending to have something that you don't have. Now we are seeing the reason that we are stroking hypocrisy with falsehood is there is a correlation whereby hypocrisy involves falsehood. On to my first point under hypocrisy. Number 1, we are looking at Ayo, the wife of Ajayi, as being hypocritical. Ayo, by the time we are meeting her, she looks like a woman who is dutiful. She's always doing everything in good time. She rarely disagrees with Ajayi. But later on, once she acquires her new status of being the formal wife, the official wife of Ajayi, we see that she becomes defiant, and she is now demanding for respect. When Ajayi is asking her, "What's wrong? Are you ill? Why haven't you prepared my breakfast?" she goes ahead and says, "If there's nothing wrong with your legs, you can as well prepare your own breakfast." That is it. 1 point on hypocrisy. We're also seeing another character who is hypocritical. Let's look at the neighbor by the name of Omo. Omo is a next door neighbor to Ajayi and Ayo. She has always presented herself as having no problem lending her ring to Ayo in case it is needed. Later on, we are seeing that Ayo, when now she sees that Ayo will finally she sees that Ayo will be officially married, we see that she starts to tell her that the silk dress she intended to wear during her wedding was not the best for her. She tells her that this silk dress, in case you had to encounter an accident and then the doctor had to raise your dress, it will show everything. It leaves nothing to imagination. That is the reason she is giving her friend Ayo. But in reality, she is being driven by jealousy. She's pretending that she's trying to help in form of an advice, but she's being driven by jealousy. We look at yet another example of falsehood, or at the same time stroke it with hypocrisy. We are looking at Ajayi. Ajayi is also a pretender, equally a pretender. Ajayi writes to the missionaries pretending that he needed more information about their work. In reality, Ajayi had hoped that they would send free samples of the Bible, samples that he might sell or even give away for free. That is hypocrisy. We are also seeing the real reason as to why Ajayi decided to formalize the union with Ayo was because he wanted to make a reality the picture that the missionaries had taken, and he was anticipating it would be in a magazine. He now wanted to make it a reality what the white people would be seeing in their magazine. It is not that he wanted to do things right by Ayo in the long run. It was not that he wanted to put things right, but he wanted to live according to the picture he has created for the missionaries. And then we're also seeing that Ayo is pretending when she puts up a show for the visitors. In their house, they had pictures of scantily dressed women, but because she knows that the missionaries that are coming, they deal with Christianity, she decides to put away the pictures of the photographs of the scantily dressed women, and she replaces them with others that are looking more decent. Are you still on the point of she's putting up a show for the visitors? She goes ahead and even borrows a ring to portray the fact that she is truly married by the church to please the missionaries that were visiting. She goes ahead and even that day she makes the house extra clean, and the children are well prepared to all this to make an impression for that particular day. This is pretense. Another one that we're seeing, another point that you're seeing on the theme of pretense, you're looking at the senior clerk, the chief clerk. Let's call him the chief clerk. The chief clerk, what does he do? He decides to pretend that it was an offense in their country for anyone to join missionary work, as this would warrant a jail term. But in reality, he knew that Ajayi would not be anticipating to work as a missionary. Therefore, it was his way of saving Ajayi from this situation. That is it about the theme of hypocrisy, pretense. We go to yet another theme, a theme that you're going to discuss, marriage. And in our discussion of marriage, we shall be having 3 major points. Point number 1, we shall be looking at cohabitation. Cohabitation is what in our country we call come we stay kind of marriage. We come we stay and see whether we like it. That is a kind of a union that has been between Ajayi and Ayo. They have been living together for 12 years. And according to the writer is trying to convey some kind of message that whenever there's this instance of a marriage that involves cohabitation, the instance of marriage that I'm calling the come we stay kind of a marriage, it makes the man to be reluctant. The man is enjoying all the privileges of a husband. He has someone who is always preparing his food, taking his bath water into the bathroom. The woman is giving him the conjugal rights. The woman has borne him more than about 3 children. The man is reluctant to formalize the union. He doesn't see the benefit of formalizing that union because already all that can come from marriage, from the making official the marriage, he is already receiving the benefits. And when they are cohabiting, we are seeing it does not augur well with the priest. The priest keeps preaching against it, and we are seeing that Ajayi, for some time, he goes away from the church. And on the side of the woman, we're still on the first point of cohabitation. We are on the theme of marriage. First of all, looking at the point on cohabitation. On the side of the woman, we are seeing when a woman is being considered a mistress, the woman is putting in extra effort to make an impression, hoping that the man would finally formalize the union. A case in quote, we are looking at Ayo. Ayo is the dutiful kind of woman. She's been doing everything for Ajayi. And she has even raised the concern, why don't you get married officially? But the husband says a wedding is too expensive. The friends of yours who are formalizing their wedding as well, they are spendthrifts. That's the kind of justification he gives to that. Let's look at a second point on marriage. Let's look at marriage preparation. Whenever there is marriage preparation, among these people, we are looking at the following things. Number one, on the point of marriage negotiations, we are seeing that it is the duty of the man to go and ask for the woman's hand in marriage from her own people. As in the case of Ajay, who sends a delegation led by his uncle to Ayo's home to ask for her hand in marriage. Still on the marriage preparations, we are seeing a man and a woman are not supposed to be getting intimate. That is why we are seeing on Ayo's part, she is denying any conjugal rights to Ajay during the night, despite them having lived together for 12 years. Another point you're looking at under number 2 on marriage preparations, we are looking at the family of the husband taking gifts to the family of the woman. That is still in preparation. And then the woman moving back, we see Ayo moving back to her father's home, and her children, they want to recreate the picture like she is still a young girl without any children. Therefore, even the children are sent away to Ayo's married sister. Another thing we are looking at in the marriage preparation is there was negotiation between the couple. I'll give the example of Ajay and Ayo. It involves the give and take until they reach a compromise. On her side, Ayo does not want to wear a white clothing. She feels that it is misleading because she already isn't pure. She already has 3 children. Still talking about the negotiation, we are seeing that we're also seeing that Ajay negotiates that they will not be having a honeymoon because there's some kind of financial constraint that comes with preparation of a wedding, especially when the burden falls on the shoulder of the man. He's the one who borrowed a lot of money. He borrowed a lot of money in order to make this wedding a reality. A lot of money to pay for the music, a lot of money to pay for the food, even though the visitors are from both sides, and still money so that he can buy Ayo a dress, as well as her sisters, the ones who will be the bridesmaids. They were also bought for a dress, and the money was coming from Ajay's pocket. Then we go to point number 3. In marriage, I've only divided the points into 3. Number 1, we are looking at the cohabitation. Number 2, we are looking at the marriage preparation. And number 3, finally, under marriage, we are looking at formal marriage. The formal marriage, what can we say about it? It was presided over by the priest. So it happened in church. After the wedding in the church, we see that there was the cutting of the cake. There was the reception where people are eating that happened at the bride's home. We're talking about Ayo's home. And finally, we see that they move back. They are given advice by elder relatives. Later on, they move back to stay together. Now their wedding has become formal. And after the wedding, we see that we had looked at the instance when they cohabit. How is it on the end of the man? How is it on the end of the woman? Now, after the formalization of the marriage, we see that the woman is like, we can talk about, she's growing horns. She's even becoming liberated. She's freeing herself. She now can even talk down to Ajay, telling him, you can as well go and prepare your own tea. We are seeing that one. A kind of liberation that comes about with the formalization. The woman now feels she can own the household. We look at another theme, a theme that you're calling religion. On the theme of religion, the religion that is being prescribed to is, we're talking about Christianity. For example, we are seeing that there are some missionaries. Point number 1, we're looking at, there are some missionaries that had paid a visit to Ajay. They were missionaries from Minnesota, and they were missionaries that were from a certain WGCA, World Gospel Crusading Alliance, all the way from Minnesota in the USA. Still under Christianity, there is the mention, still under religion, and we are talking about Christianity, we see that there is the mention of the Bible. we see that Ajayi was writing in hope that he'll be sent to free Bibles. That is another illustration that we are talking about Christianity. And we're also seeing another third illustration to cement on the fact that you're talking about Christianity. We see an instance where we are talking about these people being regular attendants of Sunday services. They attend the Sunday services regularly. And whenever they attend the Sunday services regularly, the priest is always encouraging them to formalize their union. And this is always causing a discomfort to Ajayi. Away from the Christian religion, we can also be talking about another one that is we can also be talking about, these people also believe in superstition. These people, therefore, in the theme of religion, you can stroke it with superstition. Before the wedding of Ajayi and Ayo, the sister of Ajayi decides they need to seek the counsel of the soothsayer. A soothsayer is someone who can see into the future. And then Ayo decides, first of all, she will beat her at her own game. She's the one who goes ahead and sees the soothsayer in advance. And when she sees the soothsayer is compromised, and she ends up predicting that Ajayi and Ayo's marriage will be one filled with a lot of happiness. They believe in soothsayers. We can talk about superstition. And religion and superstition, they are matters of believing. Therefore, that is why we've put them together. We still look at another theme that we shall be calling the theme of customs. And along the customs, there is the traditions. When you talk about customs, it is a people's way of doing things. A people's way of doing things incorporating what do they believe in? What are their traditions? A tradition is a way of doing things that has become a norm. We do it year in, year out, until it becomes a norm among that group of people. And it also is inclusive of their beliefs. On the theme of customs, we are going to look at a girl is supposed to be taken from her patriarchal home. She's supposed to be taken from their father's home. That is why Ayo has to abandon for a while living with Ajayi, and so that when he comes to her ask for her hand in marriage, he takes her away from her own people. That is an aspect of customs, an aspect of traditions. Example number 2, we see that the burden of formalizing the union fell on the man. It was the man who was supposed to propose to the woman according to their customs. He's the one who finally asks Ayo, I want to formalize our union. When the man was not ready to formalize their union, we see that no formalization took place. Therefore, it was the duty of the man. Therefore, he's even the one who incurs the financial burden of formalizing the union. He borrows a loan to make everything work. And at the same time, he's the one who goes with his family to ask for her hand in marriage. We're also seeing another point on customs and traditions, where we are seeing that marriage was a family affair. We see that during the formalization of their marriage, in attendance were the families of Ayo as well as the family of Ajayi. And what do? We are seeing that the sisters are the bridesmaids, and on the other hand, the negotiation incorporates the family of Ajayi, inclusive of his uncle. We are therefore justified to conclude marriage was a family affair according to their customs. And we said it is not only confined to the customs and the traditions. When you talk about a people's way of doing things, you also incorporate their beliefs. And you see that these people believed in soothsayers. They believed in people who could see into the future. And we see that Ajayi's sister advocates for visiting a seer, visiting the soothsayer, but then Ayo beats her at her own game. She's the one who sees the soothsayer before Ajayi's sister does. We can still have another theme, even though it is not very prevalent in the book. let's talk about the theme of jealousy. We are looking at, over here we are going to consider two characters that are jealous. Number one, Ajai's sister is jealous, therefore bringing about the theme of jealousy. Ajai's sister is not happy about the news about the formalization of the union between her own brother and Ayo. As much as the news was received with happiness, she's the only one who is not happy about that. And this is because she feels that when Ayo becomes married now officially into their family, Ayo will become more important than she is. Therefore, she advocates for visiting the soothsayer in hope that maybe the soothsayer will give them a negative comment onto why they should not get married. Therefore, she continues to be the most important person in that family. Example number 2. We are also looking at Omo. Omo had never had a problem lending her ring to Ayo whenever a need arose. But now when Ayo shows her neighbor Omo the gifts that Ajai intended to give to her, gifts that come with being made the official wife, we are seeing that Omo is filled with jealousy. She tries to convince Ayo that her dress was not even suitable for that particular occasion. That is warranted by the jealousy that she feels now that another woman is also going to be an official wife just like she is. Therefore, she'll not be the only important person from whom you can borrow a ring from. That is it about our themes, and the themes are helping us to put into perspective a better understanding of our story. This aside, we now want to visit our book. We have our book, Top Notch English Guru, and from Top Notch English Guru, you can get a very good discussion of the new books. I'll now bring into our focus a sample example of an essay question. And the essay question goes as follows. Do not judge people by the color of their clocks, but by the nature of their actions. Show the truthfulness of this statement using illustrations from Abiose Nicole's The Truly Married Woman. Whenever we are looking at an essay question, let's first of all purpose to understand what the question is asking. And in purposing to understand the question, let's look at the keywords. The keywords are as follows. Do not judge people. And then color of their clocks, but nature of their actions. Simply put, we are talking about do not judge a book by its cover. In answering that question, I'll still remind you of an episode on dealing with essay questions. And if you missed out on any episode, all the episodes are available on YouTube. You just Google and go to Top Notch Online TV. In answering an essay question, first of all, you're starting from there. We are starting first of all from the introduction. An introduction should be a display of a student's understanding of the question. Do you understand what you're being asked? And in your understanding of the question, in your own words, what can you tell us the question is asking you about? And in answering that, we can have an introduction such as a proverb. Do not judge a book by its cover. And then you go ahead and even talk about what we see in people is not always their true nature. This is because appearances can be deceiving. Someone who says that has understood what you're really talking about in interpreting that questions. Therefore, it follows then that the points that you'll be putting down in the body will also should also go in line with the argument that do not judge people by their outlook, but then be more keen on their actions. I said that themes and essay questions, they are related. We've already talked about the theme of hypocrisy. People are pretending. What you see is not always what you get. Away from the kind of introduction you've given from our book, There still can be another introduction where we are talking about a contextualized introduction. For instance, characters in Abiose Nicole's The Truly Married Woman pretend to be what they are not, as will be discussed below. And then you go ahead and you get to the body of our essay. 4 well-explained points, one of them being Ayo pretends to be submissive and dutiful wife for 12 years. Without even dwelling so much on that, you can even now gain your own words into explaining what is being said in the topic sentence. We've pointed out one among the characters who is pretending to be good, yet she is not. We are pointing at Ayo. Ayo has always looked like she is dutiful. She is submissive. Later on, she proves us wrong that she is not that kind of a person. And she's telling the husband, if nothing is wrong with your legs, you can as well prepare your own breakfast. That is point number 1. Point number 2, the major theme in this story, The Truly Married Woman, the major theme centers around falsehood. Point number 2, and we need 4 points. You can talk about Ajai's pretense that he wanted to do missionary work. But then we know that in reality, Ajai was hopeful. Free Bibles will be sent. The free Bibles will be sold or given freely to his friends. The true nature of Ajai's plan is unmasked when these people are now inviting him to join them to be one among the missionaries. But lucky for Ajai, he is saved by the chief clerk, who says that it was an offense that might land Ajai in prison. Now we are seeing the true nature. Ajai was not at all interested in missionary work. Another point we are seeing is Ajai is pretentious when the missionaries from WGCA visit him. The missionaries from the WGCA, when they visit him, the family pretends like it does not partake in alcoholic drinks. We see that Ayo, she had been given prior instructions to put everything in order. She takes the wine glasses and she stashes them away under the sofa. The people, they want to bring out a family that is godly. They later on also, they put away pictures of scantily dressed women and they replace them with magazines that are decent. You see, when you're discussing the essay, it's like a repetition of what you had done in the themes. They are related. And then even further, when you're talking about Ajai's pretense towards the missionaries, we can still put another illustration. Instead of hailing a taxi, as he had been advised by the missionaries, what does he do? He tells them, he gives them an excuse that the roads are not good, therefore they need to walk. But he wants to buy time so that the wife can also prepare and the house should be set for the visitors that are coming. The last point, you're seeing that Ayo is also hypocritical when she is hosting the missionaries to create a perfect picture for her family. Now the main pretenders we are seeing is Ayo and Ajai. The points are centering around Ajai and Ayo. She brushes the children's hair. They're looking now, the hair looks kempt, unlike the other days. The faces have been washed and they're no longer partaking the wine that they're used to. Today they're having fruit drink because you know that Christianity is against alcoholism. And at the same time, she has even borrowed a ring to bring about the impression that she is married by the church. That is it. We need our 4 well-explained points. And then as we are coming to a conclusion, we need to bring out a conclusion that shows a student understands they've come to the end of the explanation. And my conclusion will come in this way. In conclusion, appearances can be deceiving. A person can be an opposite of what you see with your naked eyes. That is it. A conclusion, a conscious conclusion. Gone are the days that you go back to, it is true to say that, just don't echo the question. When you're going to the conclusion, bring out a conscious effort that you understand this one is the conclusion. Up until then, I hope we have had a thorough understanding of the story under A Silent Song, The Truly Married Woman. Until next time.